It's the middle of January and I thought for this video I'd do an update on how the cupboard challenge is going. So I know a lot of people on YouTube do videos speaking directly to the camera without notes, but I can't do that, so I have my notes here. So the January cupboard challenge. First of all, what is it and why are we doing it? It's cooking mostly from what we already have. That's the gist of it, to try and save money. So personal reasons why I'm doing it are, we overspent a little bit at Christmas and ended up going into our overdraft. So my first priority was to pay off the overdraft and build up a little bit of a buffer so that we hopefully won't be doing that again. So the overdraft is now paid off and we're working on the buffer. B, after Christmas, we had quite a lot of food in our fridge, freezer and cupboard that needed using up. Some of this was stuff I don't routinely use, so I wanted to challenge myself to use up what we've got without it going to waste. And C, over Christmas our food budget had crept up a little bit and I want to try and keep it at around £50 to £70 a week. So this challenge is a way to reset the food budget and hopefully get back down to a more manageable level for us. So here's the update on how it's been going. In last week's video, I showed that we had a £25 voucher for spa from my son's school. So that's what I used for a top-up shop last week. I spent £25.14. And here's what I got with that. It was quite minimal, but it did get us through the week and kept us on budget. Now, this week our stocks of essentials have dwindled somewhat, so I have spent more on shopping. I did one midweek top-up shop and managed to spend £20 on not very much at all. £8.50 of that was dog food, and I did pick up some yellow sticker bargains on some reduced bread, which I've popped into the freezer. But I did buy some ready-made frozen pizzas, which I really try not to do. However, it was one of the busy nights of the week and I didn't have anything to do for dinner at home, so I thought I'll just get something that I can do really quickly that's ready to go, and because I knew I'd be popping in and out all evening. I also bought some kiwis and some snack bars for lunch boxes. And today I had a weekly shop delivered from Asda and this cost £44.29. So I've tried to keep this on the lower side to keep my weekly budget under £70. So in total this week I have spent around about £65. And here's what I got in this week's shop. So it's actually my son's birthday tomorrow, so that's why I have got so much butter. I'm going to be making a birthday cake. I got a really big bag of pasta. This should last us for ages. It's 3 kilos. We'd run out of popcorn kernels, which is what I like to put in my kids' lunches instead of crisps. This will last for ages, so I've got a new pack of that. Some blueberry and vanilla rice cakes as requested by my daughter, some crackers to have as easy lunches, chocolate spread, tuna. We'll have tuna jacket potatoes with that probably. My husband likes to have cereal for breakfast, so I got him some bran flakes. I've still got some Weetabix, which my son likes to have with chocolate spread. I got some beef mince, which I'm going to make some burgers with. I have some milk left from last week, so I just got one this time. Apples and grapes, that was on offer, 2 for £3. Some easy peelers. So these will be for snacks and school lunches. The only vegetable my son really likes is cucumber sticks, so I got one of those for him. I still have carrots in the fridge, which my daughter likes, and I still have spinach in the freezer, which I've been using. And I still have a load of veg that I need to make some vegetable soup with. How can I keep our weekly food budget so low? I get asked quite a lot. So here are the 4 main aspects of how I keep my food budget on the lower side. 1. Ready-made food and snacks. They are the downfall. For example, the pizzas that I bought the other day, I got 3 pizzas which cost me £7.25. They were the frozen ones. I could make more than 3 pizzas for £7.25 with the raw ingredients, which I do sometimes with pizza. I make a big batch and freeze them, so I have got ready-made homemade pizzas. But I've been dwindling my stocks down, so I didn't have any. Making food from scratch with individual ingredients costs a lot less than buying ready-made. We pay a premium for convenience, and a lot of the time the convenience food has ingredients in it that aren't that good for us anyway. Now, I'm not perfect, obviously. I bought pizzas and snack bars this week for the convenience, but I do try and make this the exception rather than the norm because it does cost a lot more. 2. Sticking to the basics. This may be slightly boring and not for everyone, but I find sticking to a rotation of a few different meals that I know my family likes and will eat is easier and cheaper than buying ingredients for different meals throughout the week that I then may not get around to making. Sometimes the ingredients end up going to waste, or my kids just won't eat it because they want what they want, which is normally beige. 3. Batch cooking. Now, it has been a little while since I've done a big batch cooking session, but I'm planning on doing one soon. And I find that batch cooking does help save a lot of money because you pay less for larger quantities. For example, the beef mince I bought this week was a 500-gram pack. It would be more cost effective for me to buy a 2 kilo pack and make lots of burgers with it and freeze the excess. This would mean a lower price per burger, and it would also mean it's a lot quicker to make a big batch of burgers per burger than it is to make 4 every week, if that makes sense. But I wanted to keep my food budget on the lower side this month due to the January challenge, so I didn't buy a big batch of mince. Also, I don't have time to do a batch cooking session this weekend because it's my son's birthday. And batch cooking saves you in the long run with convenience food that you have made in your freezer from scratch rather than having to pop to the shops to get something for dinner because you didn't have anything. So I should really practice what I preach. And 4, planning. Planning does really help. So I am going to use my 7-day cupboard challenge planner now to work out what I'm doing for the next 7 days for food.
You could easily plan this in a notebook, but if you do want a ready-made planner, I have done it for you and it's available in my Ko-fi shop, so I'll put the link in the description below. It's only £3. The first page is the audit sheet, which I did a couple of weeks ago, so I just went through and crossed out what we've used up so far. And then in the meal planner, I have redone that for the coming week, plus added some bits to the shopping list that I think we'll need next week. This is a reflection and reset page, which I did find quite useful this week because it helped me to kind of think about what had gone well the week before and what hadn't worked so well. And now that we've used up quite a lot, I'm writing out what we need to restock when the time comes. Now, one of the things that I made this week to help things stretch a bit was some bread and some rolls. These are pretty straightforward to make and they do work out cheaper than buying bread from the bakery section in the shop. I used to use a bread machine for this, and the recipe book that I have is for bread machines. But the bread machine broke, and now I just use my stand mixer with the dough hook on it instead to knead it. And the recipes work just as well. This time I doubled the simple white bread recipe and used half for a loaf and half for some rolls. And this is me shaping the dough after it had its first proof. Once it's shaped, I then put the loaf into the tin and the rolls into the baking tray to let it have a second proof, which is for less time than the first one, about an hour. I'll put a link to the recipe book that I use in the description below. And I also have my favourite buttery bread roll recipe on my Substack if you want to take a look. I find that fresh bread and rolls last for about 3 days in the Tupperware Bread Smart containers that I have. Although if we're having toast for breakfast and sandwiches at lunch, we tend to go through a loaf in kind of 1 or 2 days. We used this bread for breakfast and my kids took the rolls to school for lunches. I used to be the type of baker that only made cakes and biscuits, and I thought that bread would be really hard and complicated, but it's actually much easier than I thought it would be.
I hope this has helped to give you some inspiration on how to use up what you've already got and to keep your food budget on the lower side. January can feel like a very long month, but we're now halfway through, so just like 6 more years to go. Hang in there, you can do it. I bet you've got food in the cupboard that you can make a few meals with. Next week, I'm going to be doing some batch cooking with what I've got to stretch us through to February.